All right, C House, I'm here today to work on the 6A review. This is going over how to factor, and there are some of these I'm going to be showing you a different method. So I'm going to do each page on a separate video, so maybe it will help you focus in on what you need help with. All right, so the first one that I'm starting with is factor by GCF. That means we're going to take out the greatest common factor. And I just realized that this is way too thick. Well, maybe it'll be okay because that's usually where I want it. Okay, so starting with that, I'm not sure what I was on. That's really weird. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start looking for what is the GCF out of this term and this term. Um, Usually I go to the smallest number, which is a 3, and will 3 go into 15? The answer is yes. So you can look at it like dividing by 3 on both parts, which means there's going to be a 3 in the front. And then you want to look and say, is there an X in both pieces? And the answer is yes, there's an X. And the lowest exponent of x is an understood 1. So we're going to divide out by x as well. So this, whatever you're dividing by, goes up front. So there's your 3x. Now, if I take 3x and I divide it out, all I have left is x. If I take 3x and divide it by, and I have 15x divided by 3x, I'm left with 5. So this is plus 5. Now, one thing you will want to do is just double check. If you were to multiply it back, would you get 3x squared? Yes. If you multiplied 3x times 5, would you get 15x? And the answer is yes. Okay? So going on to the next one, I'm going to say 4 is my smallest number. Will it go into 16 and 12? The answer is yes. And then is there a y in each one? Yes, the lowest exponent of y is a y, is y to the first power. Now in this one I didn't divide out, so you can see the difference between it. Now 4y times what gives you 4y squared? I hope you said y. 4y times what gives you 16y cubed? Well, first of all, 4 times what gives you 16? 4. And y times what gives you y cubed? That is a y squared. 4y times what? And this is a positive. 4 times 3 will give you 12. Y times nothing will give you y. So, or y times 1. So this is the right answer. However, this is not in standard form. So it really does need to be rewritten to look like this. 4y squared plus y plus 3. This is the correct way to write this problem. In this one, 25 is my smallest number, but it will not go into 40. So you're going to take 25 and you're going to break it down to 5 times 5. 5 will go into 25. Will 5 go into 40? And the answer is yes. So 5, and there's an m cubed and no m. So m will not be in part of each of them. So if you wanted to say divided by 5 and then pull it out front, 5 times 5 would give you 25, or 25 divided by 5 is 5, m to the third power. Now 40 divided by 5 is 8, or 5 times 8 would have given you the 40. Okay, either way, this is correct, and I can get rid of these extra arrows. Okay, moving on. Factor completely. So on this one, when it says completely, it means that first you want to do GCF. Second, you want to see if you can factor the trinomial. Okay, so first of all, is there a GCF here? 2 is my smallest number, and it will go into 10, and it will go into 12. So I'm going to pull out a GCF. X squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, now this is how we have been doing this, and I'm going to continue this in the fashion that you did these when we did them the first time. So AC is 1 times 6, which is 6. B is negative 5. The factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. This is a positive 6, so you'd have to add these together to get this negative 5. Well, 2 plus 3 is 5, but we need it to be a negative 5. So if you make both of these negative, it will make that negative. So I would use 2x minus 3x, and that's going to replace this 5 right here. Now, what doesn't change is the x squared plus 6 in the back. The b's are what changed. Now, that 2, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to come out at the very end and come in something like this. So we're going to Shazam right there, and we're going to pull out an x, leaving x minus 2. That's GCF'd out front. And then I'm going to pull out a 3 in the back, plus 3, leaving, oh, you know what? That was not a plus, it was a minus. My bad. Let's correct this. That's going to be a minus 3, leaving x minus 2. Now, I caught that because these two pieces, oh my gosh, they have to match. And they're repeated right here. So our GCF of these two big things is x minus 2. Then you take the leftovers. Here's a leftover here. Here's a leftover here. X minus 3. This is completely factored. Now I'm going to show you another way to do that in just a minute. Okay. This one, I hope you notice, this is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. We call this dots, difference of two squares. And this, as one of the kids said, oh, it's the box with the x and x on either side. And this has 6 and 6. So this one is very simple. You do an x and a 6, an x and a 6. One gets to be plus, one gets to be minus. I'm done. Yay for easy. Okay, this one has 4 pieces. When it's 4 pieces, you have to Shazam this baby. You don't have a choice. X squared comes out of the first one, leaving me x minus 5. Now, if you needed to do divide x squared, like we did in some up here, you're welcome to do that, okay? And then over here, I'm going to pull a 4 out, and I'm going to make it plus 4, x minus 5, because 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Notice the x minus 5, they match. And then you take the leftovers, x squared and a plus 4. X squared plus 4, and I'm done. All right, moving on down the page because I'm going to stop this video once I finish the bottom of the page. Okay, this one, if you'll look, there's only 2 pieces. Let's change colors. In the 2 pieces, is the 4x squared a perfect square? If it's not, then I'm going to have to GCF it. There is a minus sign. Is this a perfect square? I see 9 times 9, 2x, and 2x for that one. So this one is another dots, 2x plus 9 and 2x minus 9. And we're done. This one has 3 pieces. Now I told you I was going to show you another way. I am going to show you this new way, and I'm going to use this method throughout everywhere I can in this review to show you how to set this up. Okay, first of all, you set up a diamond and it looks like this. And you do A times C here, B for the bottom. So remember how we found A and C in this before? We're still going to find A, C, and B. This time, once you know what they are, you're going to set this up and do AX, AX, and you're going to find these little numbers here and here. Now, these two little stars, these multiply to give you AC, but they add to give you B. Multiply, not an X, multiply to give you the top, add to give you the bottom. And the way that I remember this is AC stands for attic, over basement, and it's easier to get to the basement than it is the attic in most of our houses. So that's where you add. Getting to the attic, you have to multiply. All right, so I'm going to set this up. AC is 1 times negative 21, which is negative 21. B is negative 4. So I'm going to set up my diamond. AC, negative 21 over negative 4. Now, my A in this case is 1, so it's 1x, 1x. Then I said I have got to figure out what can go in here to multiply to give me 21. So I need the factors of 21. 1 and 21, 3 and 7. Those are the only thing that will give me 21. Now it is negative, so I've got to remember that I'm going to subtract these instead of add them. All right, so subtracting 3 and 7 would give me a 4. I do want it negative, so I'm going to put 3 and 7. The fact that it's negative means the bigger number is negative to give me negative when I add these two together. It makes it a subtraction technically. All right, so if these will reduce as a fraction, 3 over 1 does not reduce, 7 over 1 does not reduce. So the way that you write this problem, this means x plus 3. This means x minus 7. So I have my solution, x plus 3 times x minus 7, and it's factored. Okay, that is very different from the way that I just did this one over here. All right, last one. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. I cannot do a diamond. I have to Shazam. There's my Shazam right there. All right, so pulling out a 3 and an x squared would lead me, I've got a GCF, each one of these. 3 times 2 would give me 6. X squared times x would give me x cubed. All right, so plus 3 times what would give me 9? 3. X squared times what to give me x squared? Nothing. All right, and then over here, I see my GCF is going to be a 4. Now, I want it minus because I want it to match this right here. Minus 4 leaves me 2x, and then negative 4 times what would give me 12? Well, positive 3. Negative 4 times positive 3 gives me negative 12. Now, these two match. So I'm going to write them down first. And guys, it really doesn't matter if you write the 2x plus 3 first or last. It's just the way I do it. Okay, it can go first or last. Then 3x squared minus 4 is last, and now I'm done. You don't have a choice on this. This one, that is the only way to do this one. All right, new method. Let's look at this one. Convert from standard form into intercept form, number 10. Okay, on this one, you've got a GCF of a -1. If you can avoid a negative, you really, really, really want to do that. So I'm going to pull a negative out. It is not good for this first number to be negative. So this leaves me x squared plus 2x minus 35. Now I told you I'm going to work all of these with a new diamond method. And the way you set it up is AC on the top and B on the bottom for attic over basement. Now, your leading coefficient is going to be 1x, not negative anymore, and 1x. Now, the AC is going to be 1 times -35, -35. B is 2. So I'm going to think of the factors of 35. 1 and 35, 3 times, not 3, 5 times 7. Okay, this is a negative, so we're going to be subtracting these to get +2. As you can guess, 1 and 35 won't do that, so 5 and 7 will. Now, this is a +2. So if you have +2, you want your smaller number to be negative, because now when we add these two together, you will get a positive number. All right, so this is giving you the answer. It is going to be 1x minus 5 or just x minus 5. And the second one is x plus 7. And the fact that this negative is out in front means it needs to repeat. So intercept form, negative x minus 5, x plus 7, and we're done. All right, on this one, which one's not a factor? Well, we don't know which ones is not a factor until we actually take it and figure it out. So we first want to ask, is there a GCF? And guys, this is a very easy part to forget. So if you look, what goes into all of these, I hope you catch it, it's even. 2 will go into it. That leaves 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Okay? Now we're going to do AC and B. So my AC is -3 times 2, which is -6. B is equal to -5. So I'm going to set up my diamond. -6, -5. Now this is the first one we get to see that A is something other than 1x. It's a 2. So I'm going to put A, which is 2, with the x down here. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to be able to fill this in very quickly. All right, so remember, I've got to think of the factors of 6. 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Now be careful because this is a negative and we want the bottom number to be a -5. If I subtract these, which one will give me 5? Hopefully not this one, because 2 minus 3 is 1. 1 minus 6 is 5, and we do want a negative, so 1 minus 6 is actually a -6. So this is 1 and -6. Now, I have to simplify this. This one is done. It is not simplifiable. It's 1 over 2x. But this one, you can reduce this to a 3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. It keeps the negative in front of it. It doesn't go anywhere, but the 2 is now gone. It canceled with the 6. So this one is going to be -3 over x as reduced. So to rewrite this one, the bottom is a 2 with the x. So you say 2x plus 1. The bottom here is just x, and it's a -3 on top. I'm done. The end. Okay, so Which one is not a factor? Well, 2 is. X minus 3, it's right there. 2x plus 1 is right there. This is the only one that's not a factor. Okay, I'm going to turn this off and I will start another video in just a minute.